Yeah, your boy Chill here. Welcome back to Nano CEF. In the last video, we set up our whole asynchronous invocation system, posting tasks to multiple threads. It's actually some, advanced software engineering techniques at play here. But end result isn't too bad. Looks nice. Now, this is what it looks like on the front end, right? We got to pass in these callbacks, and it's all well and good. But callbacks can get nasty, and I want to show that. But first, to do our demonstration, we're going to need a little bit of a different front end. So let's get rid of the shopping cart. Don't need this stuff. None of this. None of that. Keep the do it function and the chill API here down at the bottom. Keep our header. Keep our card. Let's keep this div at the bottom. Don't need that style in there. Okay, so what do we got to work with here? So the header is going to be take the test, and we need a meter. We need a power level meter. So we got the view progress linear component here. That's going to give us our power level rating. So we'll do color is equal to blue, darken 3. Set it at intermediate. So that means that value is not determined. It's going to show like a little animation to show you that it's not ready yet. We're just going to put it in there to see what it looks like before we move on with the back end. Just make it a little rounded, I guess. That might be nice. Let's try like a H3 power level. Okay, we'll try this out. We'll see what it looks like. Now at the bottom here, we want justify. I think it's center. Might be middle. Button. We don't want an icon button. Color purple. Click is going to be do it. Just do it. Size is going to be extra large. Might want to style it a little bit more. We'll see. We need to fix this because MB is no longer a thing. So let's just put some dummy callbacks in here. There we go. That's pretty good. Well, this one ain't so good. Need to do a little work with this one. Actually, I think I got a better way of doing this. We could actually... vCard has a prop called title. So if you don't need any special stuff, you can just put the title right in here. Let's try that. It's looking good. We got a little too much sauce on the top here. Let me see if I can fix that. Just going to get rid of the row and column stuff. I don't think it's really necessary here, to be honest. You're only putting one thing in the card. Okay, that's better. Now we need a little bit of padding. The power level looks good. If we add a little padding to the card here. But I don't want it, I like the way the power level was already. So maybe instead of adding padding to the card, what if we add some margin to our progress? Like this. Well, I said margin all. It didn't give me margin on this side. So I'm like, okay, what the hell is that all about? What if we wrapped it with a div and put the margin on the div? Yeah, there we go. Now what if we said height is equal to, I don't know, 20 pixels. How's that look? Oh yeah, now we got a power level bar here. Honestly, this is about as much fucking around as I can tolerate. Well, one more thing here. Let's add a little spacing between the button there. All right, that's about as much design as my C++ programming ass is capable of. Here we go. All right, so we got the power level. Now, how do we determine the power level? We got to take the test. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately. So we need the power level, and that is going to be number or null. Yeah, and we'll start that off as null. Little flag, say whether we're in progress, whether we're currently in a test. We could just set this to false to begin with. All right, so this meter is going to have 5 gradations. So I think we need max is equal to 5. Probably most important, V model, the data that we're binding to, is going to be equal to power level. Now the problem with that is it's not a number. I see the problem. I didn't put this one in the right spot. It's got to be outside this function here. Yeah, it's got to be in the setup. All right. Yeah, so it doesn't like null, but we can, well, I thought we could do it. So apparently we can't use the null coalesce in here. That's fine. We'll do it ourselves. How do we do it? Let's do So create power level norm, which is just power level, but if it's null, it just returns a 0. And then that should work in here. It does work. Beautiful. Now indeterminate, that's just the case where power level is exactly null. But we got to bind that as an actual JavaScript, not just some text like this. That works. We can do one more, which is stream. That is if something is currently in progress. And that is the case if in progress is true. So we'll do that. All right. This is the way. Let me just move the definition of the interface out of here. It kind of looks weird in here, to be honest. No comments there. Never hurt anyone. All right, so what are we going to do? We want to ask a series of questions. The answers to those questions will be tallied up. Decide your power level. Every yes answer increases your power level by 1. So when you click on the button, that's going to start the operation. So I think at the very beginning, we should do in progress equals true. Yeah, do dot value. And I guess we should set the power level equal to 0 to start off with. I always forget to put the dot value in there. You got to do the dot value when you're in the script, but it gets unwrapped for you in here. So it's, and now we got to ask a series of 5 questions. So if the return value is true, that means they pushed yes. Power level dot value is equal to dot value plus 1 or power level dot value. Now there's a problem here, and this is what Typescript is telling us. This could be null, right? Potentially by the time that this callback is called, this could be null, which is it's a problem for a guy like me. But let's just say, nah, I'm built different. It's going to be a number. Just built different. Trust me, bro, that's going to be a number. But if they cancel out, we want to cancel the whole operation. So I guess we do in progress dot value is equal to false. Power level dot value is equal to null. And then we got to do this like 5 times. And then when they're all done, then we want in progress equal to false. But there's a problem here. Already we can see this. Well, let's just play with it for a bit. So we need the questions to determine your power level. Yeah? All right. Seems appropriate. Let's do it. So the first thing we notice when we click this, we're going to get all 5 questions at once. And this should be expected because, of course, do chili is an asynchronous function, so it returns immediately before the process is complete, and so it can execute them all at pretty much the same time. Also, the in progress thing, it goes to true, but then it immediately goes to false, so it doesn't do anything when we do these things, when you do it like this. But on the other hand, like if you answer yes, oh yeah, you can see they're like going up here. No, and it stays the same. If you cancel it, it goes back to the indeterminate state. But it gets kind of weird if you like yes and then cancel it and then answer yes again and then yes and then cancel. It's very strange, isn't it? So this is not what we want, obviously. We need one to finish before we do the next one. And then when the last one finishes, that's when we can turn in progress into false. And if any of them cancel out, then we don't continue down the chain. We end it right there. And so this is where we get callback hell. Yes, very nice. So first we do the operation that we wanted to do, and then we call the next one. We just nest it right in here. Just beautiful nesting, like some kind of bird, some kind of ugly bird. Let's continue. Copy pasta style. Now for the very last one, we do our power level increase as usual, and then in progress dot value is equal to false. We're no longer in progress. There you go. So this little pattern here, this is what is known as callback hell. It's also known as the pyramid of doom, and it's quite common when you're dealing with a lot of asynchronous callbacks. You're gonna run into this bad boy. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let's see if it works first of all. Okay, so far so good. We're in the indeterminate state. We started, and now it's the streaming state. Okay, sure. Oh, we can feel our power level growing. Oh, not there. Oh, we got another one. Oh, quite powerful. And then when it's done, the streaming thing goes away, and This shows our true potential. And if you click the button again, it's going to reset. Nice. And if you click cancel, it goes back to the indeterminate state. Quite good. In terms of functionality, exactly what we want. In terms of how the code looks like ass. Looks like hot ass. So what can we do about it? Well, I mean, this has been a problem since the inception of JavaScript. People have said, I'm fed up with this bullshit. We're going to make it better. And the first thing they did was they created the concept of a promise. Now, essentially what a promise is, it's an object and it wraps the callbacks for an asynchronous function, and then it gives you a little interface that lets you chain them together without this nastiness. Let's give it a try. So we'll create a function just chilling out here called doChili. It's going to take in the text, it's a string once more, and it's going to return a promise. So we need to create a promise. Return new promise, boolean. Now, a promise takes in a function. So it's going to take in a function, and you define the behavior of the asynchronous operation that this promise is going to wrap. And the function that it takes in has two parameters, accept and reject. Now, I think I messed it up. It's supposed to be resolve, but I named it. But you get the idea here. You see, this whole system that I did for the asynchronous, where you have two separate callbacks, I didn't do that by accident. I did that mainly because that's the way that promise works. So now we can wrap our function. We have these two callbacks predefined for us. We can just pass them directly into our API function. Pass in the text, accept, reject. So now we wrap this in a promise, and it gives us these callbacks, and we can chain these promises, and it will work all the callbacks together for us to create this. But it won't look like this. It'll look much nicer. So let's try it out. Let's give it a shot. So now we call the promise version of doChili, and it only takes in one parameter, which is the text. That's this bad boy. And then we call, there's three things that you can call on the promise. You can call then, you can call catch, you can call finally. They all take in a callback to determine the behavior. So we say doChili, and then when that's done, then do another chili. And the return from this then is going to be promise wrapping the return from this thing. So then, because that's a promise, we can do it then again. Then why don't you do another chili? So there you have it. This bullshit becomes this. Which do you prefer? I prefer this one. Now you're saying, chili. But what happens when shit goes wrong? What about the other callback? Also, we forgot a thing. You're not incrementing the power level. You dumb bastard. Okay, guess what? It's not that hard. Don't worry about it. So we create a function, quest, to ask the question. It returns a promise void because we don't need to get anything out of this one. And all quest is going to do is we're going to call doChili with the text, dot, then increment the goddamn power level as necessary. We got to return the result of this because the return type of quest is a promise. So we return this, and this is going to doChili, and then on that, that's going to chain this operation. So now we have this promise operation. We can compose that into this chain. So now instead of calling doChili, we're going to call quest. And then at the very end, there's one more thing that we have to do. If that all succeeds, is the extra sauce if we got to turn in progress now to false. And there you go. So we fixed the problem of it doesn't increment. But what about the problem of handling the exceptions? Well, you might have already guessed. That's always in here. So we should set in progress to false. We set the power level to null. Now in the case we catch an error, we also have to set in progress false. And you may notice, no matter what, at the end of this sequence, when the sequence terminates, we have to set in progress equal to false because we're no longer in progress if sequence has terminated. Well, we can actually do better than putting it in two places. We can just say finally. Finally means if all the thens have completed, or if we got an error, we did a catch, no matter what, the final thing that we will do is we always set in progress equal to false. And that's a cleaner place to put that logic. And so now we have quest, then quest, then quest, then quest, then quest, catch any issues, set power level to null, and whatever we do at the final, we are going to set in progress equal to false. And that, my friends, is what promises are in JavaScript and TypeScript. And I think you'll agree it's a little better than the bullshit that we had. Now the only question is, does it goddamn work? All right, so far so good. It did not shit the bed immediately. We got one question. Yeah, 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 no, yeah. There's our power level. Nice. Let's try it again. Yeah, yeah, no, cancel. Ah, back to the intermediate state. So the exceptions are working. Everything is working. And it's a beautiful sight to behold. This is a definitive improvement on callback hell. All right, but promises are now old hat, and there's a new hotness in it. To understand why the new hotness is what we really want, let's take a look at a little different example, a little more complicated.